Hi guys, it's a bit of a different video for you all today. I'm going to take you through the AHPRA process and share my tips, my tricks and my experiences. So if you're a UK based nurse at the moment looking to move to Australia, keep watching. I was a UK registered nurse for 2 years before I started applying for my AHPRA. So this video is explicitly for going from the NMC to AHPRA. The first big thing with AHPRA is documents. Now you need to have quite a lot of different documents, so I'm going to run through a list of all the ones that you need to have and how you can get a hold of them. The first one you need to have is your identity documents. So I used my passport, my driver's license and my birth certificate, but you could also switch out one of those for a marriage certificate or a government ID document. And then you will need to get hold of your degree certificate, and this has to be in English, so if you've got it in another language like Irish or Latin, you need to get a translated version as well. And you also need to apply directly to your university to get hold of your transcripts. Now there's a couple of different criteria that these need to meet, such as how many clinical placement hours you did and what the contents of all your modules were. So as you can imagine, it's quite a big document. It's worthwhile getting it posted out to you rather than emailed, because later on you will need a hard copy of it. And then you also need to get a copy of your NMC PIN. You can request this from the NMC website directly and it pops up automatically. You can just print it out and that's perfect. Then you also need to go to your employer and ask for a statement of service. Now this is basically just a letter with the company that you work for at the top, your name, the role that you've been doing, and how many hours a week you work and the dates between. As you can imagine, that can be quite time consuming getting all those documents together, which is why I recommend that before you've even made an account on the AHPRA website, I think you should gather all your documents together, because it does take quite a while, especially when you're going backwards and forwards to your uni trying to get hold of the transcripts. It can take a long time. So once you've got all your documents together, what you're going to need to do is go to a solicitor or a notary, and you're going to have to take the original hard copy and take a photocopy too of every single document that I've just outlined there. And then on the photocopy, the solicitor will have to write a specific phrase, which I'll put on screen somewhere now for you, and it has to be word for word, else it will get rejected. And different solicitors will charge different prices for this service, so definitely recommend shopping around and going to a few before you commit, because I've heard some people get charged £50 for the whole thing and other people get charged £50 per document, so it really does depend. And then once you're confident that all your documents have been certified and that they've all got that exact phrase on them, go ahead, scan them into your computer and save them as PDF files. Make sure that each document is a separate file in your computer. So your passport should be a separate file to your driver's license and so on and so forth. And now you're ready to start lodging your AHPRA application. So go ahead onto the website and make your account and then submit off those ID documents. And now this is only the first stage, so it costs around $400, and once you've hit that submit button, it takes them about 2 weeks to get back to you in whether you've been successful. And if you haven't, it's probably because one of your documents didn't have the right phrase on it, or it wasn't submitted to a high picture quality. So just make sure that you've got everything perfect before you hit that submit button. Now that you've submitted that first element, you need to go onto the NMC website and get a certificate of good standing. This is just to make sure that you've got no warnings, no suspensions or cautions or anything like that on your nursing PIN. And this is completely free. You just fill out a little form and it goes straight to AHPRA. You don't have to worry about getting it certified. You don't have to send it to anybody. It just goes straight to them. And then once you've been successful in the first element, AHPRA will send you a link to do a police clearance check. And this costs around $65 and takes about a week to come back. It's just the same as a DBS check in England. And they just ask you a couple questions about where you've lived before and like criminal history. So that just goes straight to AHPRA. You don't have to worry about getting that and sending it to them or certifying it or anything like that. It just goes straight to where it needs to go. So once you've got your first phase completed and approved, and then your police check has come back as clear, you enter the second stage, and this costs around $500, and it's basically applying for your PIN for the first time and entering the register. So it's really important to remember that in the NMC, you renew every year based off the date that you entered the register first. So for instance, I started in September, so I renew every year in September. But in Australia, it's a little bit different. So every nurse has to renew in May, no matter what date they entered the register on. So if you say, for instance, went into the register in September, you need to pay again in May. So it's really important to note that if you're unsure about when to start moving to Australia, definitely recommend doing that May time frames, then you only have to pay once. Part of this second element, there is online training as well, and that's just to make sure that you understand the healthcare out here in Australia and the different populations, like in the rural towns, in the metro areas, and how different sorts of health literacy and socioeconomic factors play a big role in nursing out here. So it's really interesting to learn about anyway. And I'd say it only took me about 4 hours to complete it. And I just did it all in one sitting, but you can flick backwards and forwards through it as you please. But once you've opened the link, you only have a week to complete the full course. So definitely keep that in mind. Another thing to note is they've completely got rid of the present in person element of the visa and the AHPRA. You don't have to take your documents to a specific person or government building or anything like that. We certainly didn't have to. I think since COVID, it's all just an online process now. Another tip for you all is if you aren't sure whether you're going to stay out here in Australia or not, definitely keep your NMC PIN, because if you're coming out here and nursing in Australia, then you are counting towards those nursing hours on the NMC register as well. So make sure you keep both. It's a whole nother process getting from the AHPRA to the NMC, and I've heard it does take a long time. So definitely, if you aren't sure, keep both. I moved out here on a working holiday visa, and another important thing is to declare on your visa application that you're going to be a medical professional in Australia, because that does change the requirements of the visa. It means you have to go and get a medical exam in one of the 3 recommended places one's in Edinburgh, one's in London, and one's in Manchester. I went to the Manchester one. It was a really easy experience, but you go, you get a chest x-ray, you get some blood tests, and you also get an entire body check. So you literally wear your underwear and they move you into certain positions to make sure your bones are healthy and your muscles are healthy and you've not got any hidden illnesses. You also have to take all the medication that you're taking with you, and I also took a copy of my immunisation history with me as well. So that's a hidden cost that I didn't know about before I started applying, and it cost around £300 to £400, and then obviously the cost of going to and from the place as well. So definitely remember that one. I'd say the process for me took around 6 weeks. The first 2 weeks were just running around, getting the documents together and getting them certified. And then once I'd actually started the AHPRA process, it really wasn't that long at all. It does cost quite a lot of money, but if it's something you want to do, then it's a cost you have to take, and it's honestly so worth it. So once you've completed all those steps, you're an AHPRA registered nurse and you're totally ready to start nursing out here in Australia. So good luck, congratulations, and happy nursing!